Hello, everyone. An unexpected twist of fate is drawing near. Amid racing heartbeats, burning hope, and a love that has never cooled, Alex suddenly places a mysterious gift in Tuna's hands. His eyes shine with determination, while Tuna's trembling fingers reach out as if their entire future were wrapped inside that tiny box. But a heavy question hangs in the air. Is this the key that will unlock the path to a dream wedding? Or just a cruel illusion testing the fragility of her heart? Will Alex's words change their destiny, or only deepen the cracks in a love already burdened by so many trials? That afternoon, while Tuna was still absorbed in her farm work, her hands swiftly gathering dry grass, the clucking of chickens mixing with the rustle of wind through the trees, the old wooden gate creaked open. A familiar figure stepped inside. Johnny. It had been a long time since his last visit. His hair hung a little untidy. His frame looked thinner, but his eyes still carried the same warmth and sincerity. In his hand was a small package, the wrapping worn, but tied neatly with a clean string. Tune looked up, her eyes lighting up. Johnny, it's been so long since you came by. Her smile was like the fading light of sunset, simple, but enough to ease a heavy heart. Johnny stepped closer and handed her the small gift. I brought some cakes for Henry. I've missed him so much. At the mention of Henry, Tuna's eyes shimmered. She quickly wiped her hands on her apron, took the package, and placed it on the wooden table. Then they both sat down in the modest wooden house. The scene felt calm, but it only took one question from Johnny to shift the atmosphere. How's Henry doing these days? And you, are you okay? His voice was low, his eyes following her every move. Her smile faltered. She lowered her head, clutching her apron unconsciously. Her voice trembled. With Henry, I feel stronger. But I don't feel safe anymore, Johnny. My ex-mother-in-law, she's come back. She wants to take Henry away. The words landed like a stone pressing down on their chests. Silence filled the room, broken only by the wind seeping through the cracks in the door. Johnny froze, his hands tightening on the table veins standing out. His eyes flickered with restrained anger. She still won't let go. His voice was rough, caught in his throat. Tuna bit her lip, fighting back tears. She shook her head, her eyes red. Having Henry back, that's already a blessing. But I'm so scared, Johnny. Scared that one day fate will rip him away from me again. Johnny stared at her, his chest tightening with both compassion and helplessness. Slowly, he reached out and laid his hand over hers, a quiet warmth passing through. Tuna, you're not alone. No matter what happens, I'll stand by you and Henry. A heavy silence stretched out. A single tear slid down Tuna's cheek. Johnny took a long breath before speaking again, his voice hesitant but sincere. Today, I was planning to visit my mother. I think she'd like to see you again, too. Tuna, would you come with me? Her heart quivered at the question. Memories came flooding back, both painful shadows and the image of a mother who once gave her shelter when she was most vulnerable. It felt as if her heart was being torn in two, one side gripped by fear of the past, the other longing for healing and a real home for Henry. Johnny waited. His eyes were patient, gentle, but full of quiet worry. The little wooden house seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the answer, dangling at a crossroads of fate. The late afternoon sky turned dusky as purple-gray clouds gathered over the fields, warning of an oncoming storm. Johnny's car rolled slowly down the uneven dirt road toward the old village. In the back seat, Tuna cradled tiny Henry, only a few months old, close against her chest. The fragile warmth of her baby gave her both strength and trembling fear. The closer they drew to the old house, the more memories came flooding back. Those cold stares, those cutting words. Tuna's chest tightened. But beside her, Johnny leaned over gently and reassured her. Tuna, don't be afraid. You're not alone anymore. You have me, and you have Henry. The old house appeared under the fading light. Its bamboo gate weathered its roof tiles, mottled with age. From the kitchen flickered the faint yellow glow of an oil lamp. A dog barked, and then the wooden door creaked open. An elderly woman stepped out. Her hair was almost completely gray. Her shoulders stooped her face, etched with wrinkles and fatigue. When her eyes fell on Johnny, there was a flicker of surprise. But then she saw Tuna and the tiny baby in her arms. Her eyes instantly filled with tears. "Tu-na, is that Henry?" Her voice trembled, broken with emotion. Henry stirred softly, his small hand reaching out into the air. That fragile sound pierced the grandmother's heart like a knife. She staggered forward, her hand shaking as it reached out, wanting to touch, yet stopping midair, afraid she might be pushed away. Tuna froze. Her heart clenched at the sight of that trembling hand. Old, painful memories crashed back of rejection of harsh words. Tears welled up as she clutched Henry tighter, terrified. The past might steal him away. Johnny gently laid a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady and warm. Let Henry feel his grandmother's arms. Tuna, you don't have to forgive her right now. Just give your son this chance. Henry let out a soft cry, the fragile sound splintering Tuna's heart. At last she took a trembling step forward, slowly lifting her child closer. The elderly woman broke down in tears, her frail arms wrapping around the tiny baby, pulling him to her chest. "Henry, my grandson." Her voice cracked, full of both joy and regret. Tuna stood there, tears streaming. In that moment, all the resentment seemed to dissolve, leaving only the sound of the rain beginning to pour onto the old roof, washing away the dust of all those years apart. She whispered softly, her voice choked with emotion. "Mother, I've come home." The old woman's body shook as her arms tightened, wrapping around both Tuna and Henry. Night had already fallen when Tuna left the old house. The visit with her mother left her torn. There was warmth in the embrace of reunion, but also the lingering sting of years of hurt. Henry slept quietly in her arms, his tiny breaths rising and falling with each hurried step. She knew she had to return to the farm, the only place where she felt safe, where she could breathe freely. As the familiar wooden gate creaked open, Tuna froze for a moment. An unexpected figure was waiting. Alex. He stood silently in the glow of the oil lamp, spilling from the house, a small bag in hand. When his eyes met hers, they softened, gentle, filled with care. "I brought a few things Henry might need," Alex said softly, stepping forward to set the bag on the table. Tuna glanced down to see what was inside fresh diapers formula and a few bottles of infant cold medicine. Her throat tightened. Neither of them spoke, but his thoughtfulness struck her heart with force. Alex sat down beside her. For a moment, the world seemed strangely calm, the chirping of crickets outside the dim flicker of the lamp, the quiet warmth of his shoulder next to hers. Alex leaned down and pressed a light kiss to her forehead. It was brief, but it carried all the love, all the longing he couldn't put into words. "Tuna." His voice dropped lower, reaching straight into her heart. "I want you to come work with me at the company. You're talented. You deserve more than being confined to this small house. My mother loves Henry. She can take care of him. And you can finally have time to live for yourself." Tuna went still. In her arms, Henry stirred his tiny hands, clutching at her shirt. She looked down at him, her heart aching. The old fear returned. If she let go, would she lose him forever? But Alex's words flowed over her like warm water on a weary soul. Deep down, she knew he was right. For months, she had given everything to Henry so much that she had forgotten herself. Tears welled in her eyes, caught between gratitude and anguish. I'm scared, Alex," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Henry is everything to me. Even the thought of being apart from him just for a little while feels like the whole world would collapse." Alex clasped her hand tightly, his gaze steady, unwavering. "I understand, but trust me, I'll never let you lose anything again. I want you to be happy, to step out of fear, to no longer be just a struggling single mother. You don't have to carry the weight of the world alone." A hot tear rolled down Tuna's cheek. She looked into his eyes, the same eyes that had lifted her through her darkest days, and for the first time, she truly felt she might have somewhere to lean. The flickering oil lamp lit their faces so close together, one heavy with fear, the other resolute with love. Viewers are left hanging in the tension. Will Tuna find the courage to trust Alex and step into a new life? Or will she cling tightly to Henry, choosing to face the world alone? The moment lingered in silence, holding its breath, waiting for the answer yet to be spoken. Inside the small wooden house, the faint glow of an oil lamp cast Tuna's shadow against the wall. She leaned back on the bed, Henry nestled in her arms, his fragile sleep broken only by the sound of soft, steady breaths. Tuna bent down and kissed his forehead, her eyes glistening. She whispered, as if speaking to her own heart, "Henry, if I leave you, even for a little while, would you be angry with me?" The baby shifted his tiny hand, fumbling until it grasped her finger. That weak grip felt like an invisible chain binding her heart. She remembered Alex's words, "Trust me. I want you to live for yourself." Her heart surged with turmoil. On one side was the longing to step beyond these narrow days, to work to live as a woman in her own right. On the other was the deep, paralyzing fear of losing her child. Even the thought made it hard to breathe. The clock ticked on each hollow beat, stretching endlessly, each one digging deeper into her struggle. She closed her eyes, and memories came rushing back. The times she was abandoned, the days she clutched Henry while running. In fear, the hateful glare of her mother-in-law tearing the baby from her arms. That terror had never left her. Tears spilled over. Tuna pulled Henry tightly to her chest, listening as his heartbeat merged with hers. A fragile moment of peace, until Alex's voice echoed again in her mind. You don't have to carry the whole world alone. Her heart wavered. She imagined what life could be if she said yes, waking up not just to survival, but to step into a workplace where she could prove her worth. Henry would be cared for, and she might finally breathe and smile after years of exhaustion. But then Henry's sudden cry cut through her thoughts. The infant's face flushed red, his little hands flailing for her. Tuna immediately held him close, soothing him with all the warmth she had. Tears fell onto his tiny face, hot and overflowing with love. How could I ever leave you, Henry? She choked out. I'm so afraid. Afraid of waking up one day and you not being in my arms anymore. Outside, the rain began to fall, drumming hard against the old roof. The sound of rain mingled with her muffled sobs, becoming a sorrowful lullaby. In the flickering lamplight, Tuna's small figure clutching Henry looked at once like a fierce mother, and a lost child standing at the crossroads of fate. The night dragged on, and Alex's proposal still hung unanswered in the dark.
Trong tập hôm nay, chúng ta sẽ theo chân Adam, chàng trai đang trong một tình trạng ngột ngạt và đầy nghị lực. Sau những ngày tháng khó khăn, Adam đã từng giúp đỡ người vượt qua cơn bão. Giờ đây, khi đặt chân đến vùng đất vượt qua cái ngóc ngách một người vượt mặt và họ, những con người đã cùng nhau chia sẻ với bao kỷ niệm. Hành trình này không chỉ là một bộ mà còn là một câu chuyện về niềm tin, sự cố gắng và mơ ước xây dựng lại một mái ấm bình yên cho cả ba. Và liệu Adam có thể sẽ là một lần mà câu chuyện xúc động nào sẽ mở ra phía trước. Trong căn nhà nhỏ từng là nơi cất giữ bao nhiêu người, những kỷ niệm hạnh phúc. Ở đây những cái nắng hoe ả mùa hè, chỉ còn lại một mình Adam. Anh ngồi lặng lẽ nơi góc bếp, nhìn mọi người tí tách cháy dưới đáy nồi nhỏ. Tiếng gió thổi qua khung cửa gỗ cũ kỹ khiến mọi thứ rung quạnh. Những ngày như người dân Việt và những